criminal defense attorney Mark Eiglarsh. I've also got Erica America Hayden, a psychotherapist and Z100 radio personality. Also radio host and social activist. It says R.B. Scott. Is it B. Scott?
B. Scott.
B. Scott, okay. And Tucker Max, my guest in the studio, are actually reacting to this, so who wants to go first?
I totally believe that this is a hate crime because there's no way that this would have happened if it was a male and female. It's because it was two guys interacting and having sex with each other. That's what made it into a spectacle, and that's why they wanted to record it, and that's why they, talked to friends about it.
They were tantalized.
They were tantalized.
This wasn't an out guy. So, okay.
No, he was an out guy. He was out to his family. He was just newly out before he left for college, but he was not securely out, perhaps.
I have a scenario for you. Okay, so someone makes a mistake. They drink and they get into a car. Is their intention to go and kill somebody? No. But if they do kill somebody, are they then responsible for the consequence?
Exactly.
He made a mistake by invading his privacy and then trying to, on Twitter, potentially humiliate him. And there should be a consequence as well. I think he should get those 10 years. It's not even like it is for manslaughter. It's for invasion of privacy, and there was one other thing that it was for. So I believe he made a mistake, and it was a mistake that really he had a conscious choice to humiliate another boy because of his sexuality.
And the incriminating part for me was that the texting back and forth.
Yeah, that's what really gets
They were saying ill and yuck, and that really shows that it was...
LOL, yay, and that kind of stuff. But Mark, I want to go out to you. You heard what Erica said. Tucker has a law degree too, but you're the actual practicing attorney. What do you think about what she just said?
I completely disagree that he deserves 10 years. We could all agree that what he did was a gross error in judgment. But now we're in the criminal arena. And the question is whether the prosecutors can prove bias intimidation, which is the up to 10-year crime. And they can do so in 3 ways. They can prove in 2 of the ways his intent and what he felt was his intention. But the 3rd way, which is the easiest way to do it, is to show that the victim felt intimidated and that he was targeted because he was gay. Now, some of the tweets that the victim had where he said, I thought this was so, with 3 O's, funny, and that when he was told it might be a hate crime, he laughed about it, may be compelling evidence for the jury to say, you know what, I'm not ready to hang him on the main charge.
But part of it may be that this kid didn't want a lot of attention drawn to him. He was newly out.
He was trying to downplay it. He was trying to make light of something that didn't hurt him.
The thing about being a new freshman in college, you don't want to make a big spectacle of yourself. You just want to fit in with your peers,
right?
This
guy, Ravi, goes to Rutgers University. He's not an idiot. The lawyer's excuse that he's a juvenile, he doesn't know what he did, it was a stupid mistake, it just doesn't stand.
And for me, I was out at UNC Chapel Hill, and I can only imagine if something like that happened to me. The embarrassment, the shame.
Okay, that's but that's going to be the question to you. Would you the embarrassment, the shame? Would it be so bad that would make you jump off a bridge? Can you imagine that?
Possibly.
Everybody reacts
differently. Everyone
reacts. But you can imagine being in that spot. I can't really. I don't know what that is. You said you can put yourself there.
When you're in college, you're figuring out everything. And things to you are hypersensitive because you're exploring them for the first time for yourself. And to have your peers judge you and to know exactly, because they can see it, exactly your sexual experiences, that's embarrassing. And it could lead someone that's already dealing with issues and, years of being ostracized and put down and bullied.
But he didn't have a lot of that kind of stuff in his bag. And he seemed pretty comfortable. His parents were fairly accepting. His mom apparently was a little dismissive. But the fact is, would that be?
You never know.
You never know. But you're speaking on behalf of someone who can put themselves in that position. My question is this: if you put yourself there and you try to downplay it, does it make sense to you that attempt at downplaying might have been real anguish?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's a defense mechanism.
It's a defense. All right. Thank you, Erica Shane and Tucker. And next, how does it feel to be the victim? We're going to talk about, we're talking to a young woman, we're talking about being a woman in this position. She had her own private nude photos leaked to her entire school. Yeah. What she has to say about this case may surprise you. Stay with us. Executive Director of Campus Pride. Also, radio host Erica America stays with me. And I'm joined now by Ali Pereira. She had a situation similar to this, didn't you, where personal photos were leaked. Can you relate to the humiliation that Tyler must have felt?
Yeah, I can most definitely relate. When I was 16, my ex-boyfriend forwarded a naked picture of me to everybody in his contact list, and it went viral through my entire high school.
Either of you, Erica or Ali, do you think the fact that this was 2 males together makes it in any way different? It seems to me that women have been victimized by this sort of voyeurism for quite some time. Do you guys agree with me?
Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't think that it makes it any different. I don't necessarily think that it's a hate crime because I was tormented, and I don't think that it was a hate crime because during the civil rights movement, a hate crime is an absolutely terrible, terrible thought out crime. And Ravi wasn't there pushing Tyler Clemente off of the George Washington Bridge. And a hate crime is a crime where somebody has an intense hate and it is thought out. And Ravi did not hate gay people.
I would have to disagree a tiny bit, only that I think there was definitely intent the first time that he looked at the video camera. Maybe he was surprised. He found out that, you know, he was gay and he was, you know, having, you know, an interaction with a man. But then to go back and tweet that you're going to have a viewing party of this, I definitely think the fact that he was homosexual had a huge part of this. So that, oh, wow, you're going to see a guy-on-guy action. I don't think it would have been the same thing if he was with a girl. I really don't.
And Shane, I'm going to go out to you. What about this being a hate crime? Shane.
Well, the definition of a hate crime is that there needs to be a biased motive as an intent. And so I don't think we have enough information. I've been watching the trial. Our organization, Campus Pride, has been following this from the beginning. And I don't know that we have enough information, but it's very disturbing. The fact that the young man today was sharing he's curious. It was curiosity. The way he said it was just, it was really disturbing that we have young people today who have so much privilege being straight that they don't see the repercussions of what it means to be gay and how difficult it is to come out.
Is the gay community, Shane, fairly unified in its perception and outrage about this particular episode?
You know, I think that the gay community nationally is pleased that finally we're talking about bullying and suicide of gay youth. It took 7 kids in September of 2010 to die before nationally we started talking about these issues. And so I do think we're pleased as a national movement that we're finally talking about lesbian, gay, transgender young people.
And is there any sort of perspective on how severe the punishment should be for this young man, Ravi?
Well, you know, I lost my dad to a drunk driver, and, you know, there's never a punishment that will fit the crime, because you'll always have lost Tyler, and the family will never find a punishment that will bring Tyler back. And so, you know, the criminal system, the court system will decide what the punishment should be. Campus Pride, our organization, is focused on making sure that colleges take responsibility for students like Tyler in the future and actually, you know, offer safe housing options and a way for out gay students to identify on their college admission form, so that way colleges can be sure to retain them and make sure they succeed academically and ultimately just feel safe on their campus.
Allie, I want to go back to you, since you were the one that really I mean, none of us have actually been in this position. You as a young adolescent were in this position. How mortifying must it be? Can you tell us?
It's absolutely humiliating, and I can completely relate to Tyler, and I don't think that it is something that just relates to sexuality. So I don't think that it's just strictly a hate crime because Tyler was gay. So I think that you have to look at it that way. It's absolutely humiliating, it's mortifying, it's embarrassing, and it's shameful because it puts the shame on you.
How old are you now? How old are you now?
I'm 22. I'm 22 and it still follows me everywhere. I have to tell my employers.
It's awful. Do you think people your age are just too casual about how you relate to the digital domain and pictures? And you know, you actually are the one that sent the picture. In Tyler's case, he was intruded upon, so there is a little difference there. But do you think you and your peers, I mean, you're the youngest person on this panel here, do you think you guys are just too casual about all this?
Yeah, I mean, we live in a day and age of iPhones, of Skype, of Uvu, and I mean, just the other day at work, they were talking about apps where people were spying on their boyfriends or their husbands and tracking where they were, or they were logging onto their phone calls. So is it just them being curious of Tyler's sexuality and who was in the room? I don't think you can say that. I think that maybe they were curious as to who was in the room because the man that he was with was a lot older. So, I mean, that you have to look at that too. We live in a day and age where kids...
No, yeah, we do. No, Allie, I know what you're saying. In fact, that's some of what the story, if you read the story, they were actually concerned about the safety of the roommate. It's a complicated story. Erica, I've got about 40 seconds. Please close us out here. What are your final thoughts?
Absolutely. I think there's a bigger issue here at hand, and that's education about social media. Not every kid has sex. We have sex education, but every kid texts 24/7. Every kid is on Twitter, Facebook, so it needs to start in the schools, and we have to be experiential about it and teach them that, you have to be responsible and accountable for your online life.
Allie, you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Allie, you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you joining us. Next up, how much do you know about what your kids are in fact doing and saying and tweeting and recording? Shane stays with me, and we're going to talk a little bit about that after the break, so don't go away.